Hello, everyone. Thank you so much for coming and joining in the lesson. Today, we are excited because we are looking at parts of a sentence. I am also excited because from the time I started making videos, this is the first lesson that I've used to go live. So yeah, just feel free to participate. If you see if anywhere where I need to make explanations, just feel free. I will explain that to you. So if you have seen this lesson, let me know if the volume is okay and if you can get me clearly. Otherwise, from my end, everything is okay. And yeah, so without wasting much of your time, I am going to get into the lesson. And if you can join me, feel free to join me. If not, then you can watch the video later. So I'm going to share my PowerPoint. I may disappear from the screen. Yeah, but yeah, let's just get started. Okay, so I hope you can see what's on the screen. Otherwise, I'm just sharing this screen. So we are looking at parts of a sentence, and we're going to give definitions, examples, and I hope we are going to do everything within the time that we have. So without wasting much, find as a group of words that express a complete thought. It is defined as a group of words that express a complete thought. In simple terms, a sentence is a group of words consisting of a subject and a verb. Consisting of a subject and a verb. And it may include an object. Now, I think I've mentioned a lot of terms here: subject, verb, and complete thought. Complete thought means meaningful. If something is meaningful, let's say if I say, I am going to town, this is meaningful. I am going to town is a complete thought because you can understand and it's making sense to you. Then we are saying it consists of a subject. A subject of a sentence is the performer of the action, and the action of the sentence is actually the verb mentioned in a sentence. So again, if I say I am going to town, I am the subject. So I is the subject. Then going is the verb, it's the action. So that is what the subject and the verb means. At least a sentence has these two parts, but it may have an object. Let me give you an example. Musonda eats Shima. Musonda eats Shima. Musonda is the subject because it's a performer of the action. Eats is the verb which shows what action Musonda performs. Shima receives the action. It's the one that's being eaten. Therefore, it's the object in that particular example that I gave. So a sentence is more than just a collection of words. It's a structured unit where each part plays a role. So all the parts that we are going to look at, they play a role to make what we started. Okay, let's look at the structure of a sentence. A sentence, as we have mentioned, is made up of a subject. Now, everything that's mentioned after the subject in a sentence is called predicate. Everything that is mentioned after the subject, or that is written in a sentence after the subject, is called predicate. Meaning that a predicate can consist of a verb, because we said the subject has a sentence has a subject and a verb at its minimal level. So then a predicate can be a verb only, or a verb and an object, like in the example that you can see on the screen. Subject plus predicate equals a sentence. The boy ate shima. The boy is the subject, is the performer of the action. Ate is the verb, the predicate of this particular example. Therefore, for this particular example, we can say a sentence is made up of a subject, a verb, and an object. In other sentences, we might have modifiers, we might have complements. We are going to look at that. If you forget everything about what I've said here, just remember that a sentence is equal to a subject and a predicate. And the predicate could be a verb and other things, or a verb alone. That's it about the structure of a sentence. And this is just the basic structure. We're going to go into the details. We've been mentioning a subject. Now let's talk about what a subject is. The subject of a sentence is the person, a place, a thing or idea that performs the action. So whatever the focus, in our previous example where we said the boy eats shima, the boy is the focus in that particular sentence. And we are told that the boy eats, and what he eats is in shima. That's what this means. The subject answers the question who or what is the sentence about. So the sentence in our previous example is about the boy. Let's look at more examples. The cat sleeps on the sofa. Someone asks, for example, who sleeps here or who sleeps on this sofa? You can say the cat sleeps on the sofa. The cat sleeps on the sofa. So the cat is what the focus of the sentence is. And we are told the cat sleeps on the sofa. Let's look at another example. John and Mary are going to the movies. John and Mary are going to the movies. Realize that John and Mary actually is a compound subject. Now, compound means two subjects, or at least in the sense of grammar and in the sense of subjects in a sentence, it means two subjects. So John and Mary is a compound subject, and we use the verb are going to show the plural firstly and to show the action which is going to the movies. So that's it about subjects. Now let's look at predicates. We earlier mentioned that everything that is mentioned after a subject is called or is part of the predicate. So the predicate of any sentence tells what the subject is doing or being and contains at least a verb. A predicate will tell what the subject is doing or what the subject is. And at least it contains a verb. Let's look at an example. The cat sleeps. You can see that the cat is the subject and everything that comes, and in this case we only have sleeps, which is a verb. Therefore, that prayed the movies. This sentence comes back. Now, after John and Mary, which we said that is a compound subject, we have are going to the movies. Therefore, are going to the movies is a predicate of this particular sentence. Therefore, in this particular sentence, we can say then that a predicate is equal to a verb plus an object. Now, there are other parts that can be there, like I mentioned, like complements, like all those that could be part of the predicate. Let me pause here and see whether people are getting me clearly. If If the sound is okay, let me know. If you're getting me clearly, let me know. I just want to make sure that people are getting me clearly. Okay. Okay, thank you so much for this so far, for being with me in the lesson. Let us continue with the lesson. So there are two types of objects in English. The first one is called the direct object, and the second one is called the indirect object. When it comes to objects, the direct object is the direct recipient or receiver of the action performed by the subject. It answers the question what, whom, in relation to the verb. Remember, this what should be differentiated to the one we said about the subject, because we said that the subject answers the question what the sentence is focused on, but this is what in relation to the subject, as in to the verb, as in what is the subject doing. Okay, let's look at examples. For the boy suffered the action or received the action directly. She wrote a letter. Again, a letter received, it is the one that was written. So that's how direct objects work in a sentence. Now, let's differentiate this with indirect objects. An indirect object tells us to whom or for whom the action is performed, and it precedes direct object. Now, we need to remember this, that the indirect object comes before the direct object. Let's look at an example. I gave Sarah a gift. I gave Sarah a gift. Indirect object is Sarah, because Sarah received a gift. Now, what I gave was a gift. To whom was the gift given? Sarah. This is why Sarah is the indirect object. He told the children a story. Now, the children are the ones that received a story. Therefore, the children are the indirect object. Remember, in the previous example, he told a story to the children. The children is not an indirect object, but an object of a preposition to. When we say he told a story to the children comes at the end. It comes after. The point we made at the beginning was the indirect object comes before the direct object. So in this case, the children is coming after the direct object. It is not. The teacher gave the students homework. Now, let's use this as an example to see how just all these parts fit together. Subject is the teacher who performs the action. And what was the action? Giving or gave. Now, from gave to the end of the sentence, we call that part a predicate. So, a predicate tells us what the teacher did. So under the predicate, we've got a verb, which is gave. We've got indirect object, which is students, and the direct object, which is homework, thing that is being given. I hope this illustrates how these parts so far work together. Let's move on and look at complements. Now, in grammar, we've got two types of complements. The first one is a complement called subject complement. This type of complement adds information to complete the meaning of a sentence. She is a teacher. When you look at that sentence, she is the subject. Teacher is referring back or giving us more or additional information about she. Therefore, teacher is a complement, subject complement. The sky looks blue. So the sky is the one that looks blue. Firstly, the sky is the subject and it is the one that looks blue. Therefore, the sky, so blue is subject complement. The last type of complement is called object complement. As you can tell from the name, object complements gives information about objects. Let's look at an example. We made her the leader. We made her the leader. Who was made the leader? First, there is we, which is the subject, which performed the action of making. Making who? Her. Therefore, her becomes the indirect object. Sorry, the direct object. And because she's the direct object, there's more information about or upon which the action of painting was performed. Therefore, white is the object complement. In conclusion, I can say, or I should mention that understanding the core parts of a sentence, which include subjects, predicates, objects, indirect objects, and complements, is essential for clear writing, so that you don't confuse objects with complements and other parts of a sentence, which we are going to look at in a later lesson. Each part plays a specific role, as we saw. For example, we looked at the fact that a subject is what the sentence is all about. A predicate describes the subject's action or state, and the object receives the action. The indirect object is to whom or for whom the action is done. A complement adds necessary details to both, not to both, to the subject to the subject or to the object. Understanding these parts of a sentence and writing them correctly is the way that will help you write complete thought. Thank you so much for joining in the lesson. I'll see you in the next one. Okay, ladies and gentlemen, thank you so much for joining in the lesson. I hope you enjoy watching this lesson as much as I enjoyed making this lesson. I'll see you in the next one. Thank you so much and bye-bye.